A 78-year-old grandma was awarded nearly $4 million over SWAT raid. When an heavily armed SWAT team surrounded the house of an old woman with guns while a raid. And talk about bad timing, she had just gotten out of the shower and was still in her bathrobe. However, this mistake left her in shock but also with loads of money. But who was the SWAT team looking for? Why did they pay her this penalty? The SWAT team moves in and begins their search. They can hear the shower still running. They rip the lock off a storage unit and find a Christmas tree. They use a battering ram to burst into the garage. Again, nothing. In the midst of this, the SWAT team, armed and ready, appeared at her door. They proceeded to search her home, only to realize later that they had the wrong address. While the elderly homeowner sits in the back of the patrol car, her house is searched from top to bottom. Ruby Johnson's son, Greg Brunson, shared that his mother is too shaken to discuss the incident. When asked about what happened, he explained that she was extremely confused and upset during the entire situation. She was in tears, and he had to console her. According to Brunson, his mother tried to remain calm and friendly towards the officers because she didn't want to risk any harm to herself. The pain unfolded when a SWAT team, heavily armed and looking for a stolen truck, guns, and a stolen iPhone, surrounded Ruby Johnson's Colorado home. The confusion arose from the Find My Phone app, which had indicated a location near Johnson's house. Despite obtaining a search warrant based on the app's information, the police discovered 78-year-old Ruby Johnson in her bathrobe, having just finished a shower. Authorities questioned her about weapons and others in the house, to which she denied having any weapons and stated that she was alone. The search continued, with police even breaking into a storage unit and garage, only to find nothing incriminating. The traumatic experience left Ruby Johnson emotionally distressed, and her son recounted her attempts to stay composed and be cooperative with the officers. Eventually, a jury awarded Mrs. Johnson $3.76 million in a lawsuit against the city of Denver, deeming the police raid unconstitutional. The judgment brought some relief to Ruby Johnson, and her family is hopeful that the healing process can now begin. Despite the incident, the Denver Police Department chose not to comment on the matter. In response to the public outcry, the Denver Police Department faced mounting pressure to address the situation. Despite their initial silence, they were forced to acknowledge the mistaken promise of thorough internal investigation. The incident prompted discussions about the use of technology in law enforcement and the potential risks associated with relying solely on apps like Find My Phone for criminal investigations. Misleading or providing false information to SWAT, special weapons and tactics teams can indeed have serious consequences and potentially lead to risky situations. SWAT teams are specialized units within law enforcement that are trained to handle high-risk situations, such as hostage rescues, barricaded suspects, and armed confrontations. If false information is given to SWAT teams, they may deploy resources, tactics, and equipment based on inaccurate intelligence. This can result in unnecessary risks, potential harm to innocent people, and a waste of valuable resources. Additionally, it may strain community trust in law enforcement agencies and hinder their ability to effectively respond to genuine emergencies. Only providing false information to law enforcement, including SWAT teams, is wrong and can lead to criminal charges. Public safety relies on accurate and reliable information, and any actions that compromise this can have serious consequences for both law enforcement and the community. The compensation granted to Ruby Johnson allowed her to seek therapy and support to cope with the emotional trauma inflicted by the incident. The healing process for Mrs. Johnson and her family began, but the scars from that fateful day would take time to fade. The city of Denver, under public scrutiny, pledged to re-evaluate its law enforcement practices and implement changes to prevent similar errors in the future. The case of Ruby Johnson served as a medium for positive change, inspiring a renewed commitment to justice and accountability within the community and law enforcement agencies alike.